retail thieves strike again. Oak Brook police releasing new videos from a double hit earlier this month.
Now to an armed robbery in Chicago and a manager held at point.
The suspect's responsible for holding up a dozen more people.
In a city known for welcoming all, the situation in Chicago takes a dramatic turn. Migrants now heavily armed and committing terrifying burglaries left, right, and center. These daring burglaries are in stores, but even worse, they're now targeting the homes of innocent Chicagoans, blasting their homes with their heavy arms to grab a quick buck, putting the lives of the city's residents at great risk.
Terrifying surveillance video shows a masked intruder with a run up to this mid-city man about to walk in his front door.
Pushed down and a held to her head. Armed robbers target a woman in her backyard with her daughter just steps away.
This bold step challenges the Windy City's promise of shelter. With laws that guarantee shelter for those in need, the city faces a real test, managing this surge without turning its back on its citizens.
Groups of Venezuelan migrants were charged with burglaries in DuPage County.
It's a moment that asks, what happens when the Windy City meets a migrant crime nightmare? Stick around as we delve deeper into Chicago's migrant crime crisis. Migrant crime.
Each clip is chilling. In a 2.5-minute montage, Chicago police pieced together clip after clip, showing a group of men armed with and even a long.
Chicago is currently experiencing a disturbing and swift escalation in criminal activities, such as burglaries, armed robberies, and violence, jeopardizing the safety of its residents.
This morning, a smoke shop on Chicago's northwest side is burglarized overnight. The front window of the Urban City Smoke Shop on Foster Avenue was shattered.
The city is witnessing a notable influx of migrants from Texas, some of whom have intentions of engaging in criminal acts. These individuals are quickly becoming ensnared by local gangs, eager to expand their criminal enterprises.
Attempted home invasion caught on camera, but the unsuspecting homeowner winds up pulling a on his attackers.
This situation has led to a series of brazen home invasions and sophisticated burglaries, with perpetrators employing terrifying and bold tactics.
At least 5 people involved, including one person smashing the window while another jumps inside to steal the cash drawer.
The city is confronting a significant uptick in burglary cases, and Chicago's police is left in chaos, with more cases to take care of than possible for their forces.
And Chicago police are searching for the suspects in a string of armed robberies. Police say the suspect responsible for 9 attacks that happened in just 90 minutes.
The Chicago Police Department announcing they've made 25 arrests, recovering illegal narcotics, guns, and 9 cars.
Further intensifying the situation are the arms now involved. With armed migrants eager to get cash and fast, the circumstances have become too great for Chicago to handle, creating chaos and begging questions about government and local decision-making.
When do citizens of the United States of America come first?
These new arrivals face rapid indoctrination into criminal activities by seasoned offenders and especially gang leaders, with some orchestrating daring thefts and not the least burglaries, exploiting the new arrivals and their lack of money, housing, and integrity.
Security video shows the group of 5 suspects breaking into Olivia's Market and quickly rummaging through the store before getting away.
They broke through the glass, they came in and went straight to the registers. We're looking for any cash. Yeah, that's been like their tactic.
The arrest of 47 migrants within just a few weeks highlights the city's struggle to safeguard its residents. The scenario resembles a plot from a crime movie, where organized crime rings meticulously plan thefts, advising on logistics and evasion, revealing systemic weaknesses to the criminal migrants. The narrative becomes more intricate, as not all migrants are involved in minor thefts. Some partake in sophisticated criminal operations, such as the Cook County Sheriff's Office uncovering a scheme to produce fake IDs linked to shoplifting rings.
Migrants looking for fast cash to get a job can wind up as pawns in a criminal operation.
Many of them caught stealing in order to pay for fake IDs to gain employment.
Moreover, a segment of these migrants is tied to international gangs and crime syndicates, heightening the risk with their involvement in severe offenses from to drug distribution. The danger escalated with the involvement of a Venezuelan migrant, suspected of cartel ties in a recent drive-by.
2 people, including the teenager, are dead, 7 others hurt.
Intensifying concerns for Chicagoans' safety and daily life. Beyond crime reports, this issue profoundly affects Chicagoans, eroding their sense of security.
Gangs from South America are breaking into multi-million-dollar homes across the country.
Incidences of unexpected break-ins and the looming threat of victimization are increasingly common, sparking debates over city leadership and Mayor Brandon Johnson.
March 16th. 5:38 a.m., the 4300 block of West Division. Watch closely. You see a man get out of a car. He's holding what appears to be a hand.
A migrant from Venezuela is facing charges accused of attacking and women.
The community's resentment and anger is palpable, targeting both local and national leaders, including Mayor Brandon Johnson and President Joe Biden, for their perceived failure to manage the situation and the criminal behaviors among the migrants.
Our people that we selected to help us out are selling us out.
The city is now witnessing significant anti-migrant demonstrations, underscoring the tense atmosphere and complex challenges it faces. Public outrage.
That's the simple solution is no. Turn the buses around. We say no. We say no.
The sentiment in Chicago is reaching a boiling point for a critical reason. Residents are voicing their dissatisfaction loudly, directing their ire towards Mayor Brandon Johnson and the administration of President Biden.
I want Mayor Brandon Johnson to understand that you're selling us out for people who can't vote for you.
Their grievance is based on the perception that migrants are being prioritized, with resources they believe should be allocated to the city's fundamental public services instead.
New numbers in today on how much Chicago has spent on the migrant crisis. In total, nearly $300 million has been spent since October 2022.
Additionally, the community's feeling of safety, crucial for the health of any neighborhood, is under siege.
From Roseland to Brighton Park, residents are not backing down in the battle over migrant encampments in their neighborhoods.
An increasing number of Chicagoans report a growing sense of vulnerability, linking this fear to the surge of migrants, particularly noting the presence of many men, some with known criminal backgrounds. This situation, according to these citizens, poses a risk to local residents' safety.
The city of Joliet nor the township can afford this type of expense for a community.
The controversy over financial stewardship, especially the perceived misdirection of taxpayer funds, adds to the public's discontent. Many in Chicago feel that their tax contributions are not being used as intended, sparking demands for a reevaluation of priorities and leadership decisions in the city governance. Education, a pillar for the future of any society, is also at the forefront of these debates.
Move over, kids. Migrants are taking over your neighborhood football field in Chicago in favor of a new shelter for illegal immigrants, and residents are outraged.
The use of schools to house migrants has faced significant opposition, with critics arguing that the educational institution's primary function should be to serve the city's children, not as temporary housing. The debate even spreads to suburban areas.
How about this? Give them all these politicians' addresses and put them in their backyards, in their basements, in their houses.
Where the prospect of migrants settling in residential communities has sparked a not-in-my-backyard reaction from some, this has prompted sharp inquiries about whether city officials would accept such changes in their own neighborhoods.
Nobody asked us. Nobody told us. We have more than a few thousand people who signed a signature here. We said no. We said no.
As buses continue to bring more migrants to Chicago, the city is faced with pressing questions. Why is this occurring, and what implications will it have for the future of one of America's key cities? Influx of migrants. Imagine a convoy of buses, each one packed, making its way into Chicago.
State leaders say they've been told to expect up to 25 buses of migrants each day.
9 more buses carrying people arrived in Chicago today. That is the most in one day ever.
This isn't a scene from a film, it's the current reality. Chicago has become the epicenter of a significant influx of migrants, drawing his attention from across the nation.
7 buses of migrants will arrive in Chicago today. This follows the at least 7 coach buses full of migrants that arrived in Chicago yesterday. In fact, just a few minutes ago, another coach bus full of migrants pulled up right beside us.
Who are these new arrivals? Mostly men. Their presence has sparked both curiosity and alarm. Notably, many have been identified as having criminal records, adding complexity to the situation and igniting fervent debates. The allure of Chicago for these migrants lies in its sanctuary city status, promising safety and support.
Democratic mayors of large cities are renewing calls for federal help over the ongoing migrant crisis.
Yet, as the influx grows, the city's capacity to maintain its welcoming stance is being scrutinized, raising questions about the effects on local services, community security, and overall well-being.
A breaking news update: more migrants are arriving in Chicago right now.
Our news crew came across a bus as they were reporting on the migrant crisis.
The decision to direct migrants to Chicago, spearheaded by Texas Governor Abbott, challenges the federal government's immigration policies.
Joe
Joe Biden is responsible for the largest amount of illegal immigration in the history of the United States. And there are deadly consequences because of that.
There's only one reason why this is happening, and that's because Joe Biden has eliminated all of the 4 policies that Donald Trump put in place that led to the lowest illegal border crossings in 40 years.
Despite the political underpinnings, the implications for Chicago are tangible, presenting the city with an unparalleled challenge that tests its resolve, capabilities, and dedication to its values. Among residents, the tension is palpable, with increasing numbers contemplating relocation due to pressures on housing, essential services, and personal security. At this crucial juncture, Chicago is wrestling with maintaining its sanctuary, while dealing with the ramifications of this profound migration issue.
The mayors of Chicago, New York City, and now Denver are all requesting federal help and coordination with Texas over the growing number of asylum seekers arriving in their cities.
As Chicago continues to receive new arrivals, it finds itself at a juncture, contemplating its identity and future.
Migrant buses coming from Texas are now stopping in the suburbs. There's a crackdown, as you know, a new one here in Chicago.
An influx of migrants to New York and other sanctuary cities is testing their already strained social safety nets.
What implications will this surge have for a city celebrated for its diversity and resilience?
And we have just learned in the last couple of hours that the city of Chicago has impounded a migrant bus for the first time.
Housing challenges. Chicago, a vibrant and populous city, is currently facing an unparalleled housing crisis, driven by a continuous influx of migrants in search of a fresh start in the Windy City. The crisis is severe, with the city struggling to find enough space to accommodate everyone. The effort to secure housing for these individuals has become an overwhelming challenge, characterized by steep costs, logistical nightmares, and a tangible impact on city services.
In other news tonight, the city is moving forward to build a tent city despite a tense community meeting in Brighton Park last night.
He inked a new $29 million deal with a private security firm to build winterized tent camps.
With winter setting in, a distressing scene unfolds with increasing regularity. Migrants forced to take refuge in inadequate tents, braving the harsh conditions. Police stations, not designed for such purposes, are now overcrowded makeshift shelters. Schools meant to serve as centers of education have been transformed into emergency housing, leading to heated debates about the city's priorities and the repercussions for Chicago's school system.
Migrants bussed and dropped off at urban centers, and in Chicago now spilling onto city streets. Right now, 2,300 migrants are living at police departments and airports in that city. Chicago's mayor has a solution, but it's highly controversial.
The proliferation of tents along sidewalks and in parks stands as a vivid reminder of the crisis at hand. These makeshift shelters are more than just a bid for survival. They symbolize a city pushed to its breaking point. For the local populace, the tent cities are a clear indication of escalating safety issues and a diminishing quality of life.
The mayor's office confirming tonight that the type of giant framed tents that are currently being used to house migrants in New York City are similar to what Chicago is looking to do to ease the migrant housing crisis here.
The pressing issue now confronting Chicago is how it will address this intensifying housing challenge. With every possible space occupied and shelters filled to capacity, the city is in search of solutions amidst significant obstacles. As Chicago confronts this dire housing shortage, it does so with the nation watching closely. The future path for the Windy City is uncertain, but it's evident that a challenging journey lies ahead. Government's response.
President Biden reportedly considering executive actions that would block migrants from seeking asylum at the border.
Amidst the challenges engulfing Chicago, attention shifts to its leaders, Mayor Brandon Johnson and the Biden administration, as they navigate the complexities of a significant migrant influx. This situation has put their policies and actions under intense scrutiny, eliciting a broad spectrum of opinions as diverse as Chicago's pizza selections. At the forefront, Mayor Johnson faces mounting scrutiny.
I know folks may have questions about my style, but don't question my leadership.
His leadership style and strategies are under close examination, with critics labeling his approach as hesitant and overly permissive, pointing to a misalignment of priorities. Conversely, supporters commend him for addressing a multifaceted issue with compassion and pragmatism. The Biden administration finds itself embroiled in the broader national conversation on immigration policy, raising questions about its role and effectiveness in addressing the specific challenges faced by cities like Chicago.
I would, in fact, make sure
that we immediately surge to the border. All those people are seeking asylum. They deserve to be heard. That's who we are. We're a nation that says if you want to flee and you're fleeing oppression, you should come. Let me say again, to any country, any organization, anyone thinking of taking advantage of this situation, I have one word: don't. Don't. Our hearts may be broken, but our resolve is clear.
Their approach, aimed at providing support while tackling the root causes of migration, is often seen as out of step with the immediate needs of communities. Texas Governor Abbott plays the role of a catalyst in this situation. His initiative to transport migrants to sanctuary cities has escalated the crisis, prompting a direct response from both local and national leadership. As discussions unfold, the dialogue encompasses a range of solutions, from tightening border controls to bolstering support mechanisms, each generating further debate and complicating the path to resolution.
We begin tonight with those dueling visits to the southern border. President Biden and Donald Trump both there late today, just demonstrating how significant this issue is with the presidential election this November.
Chicago finds itself at a critical juncture, with the effectiveness of governmental actions under close examination. The crucial question is whether the current leadership can deliver the solutions required to navigate these tumultuous times, or if the city will be pushed to its brink. The narrative continues to unfold, with each strategy and decision closely watched. The trajectory Chicago will follow, and the long-term implications of today's actions are yet to be determined. With critical choices on the horizon, the overarching question remains: will Chicago rise above these challenges, or will the strain be too much to bear? Only time will reveal, but it's clear that the decisions made now will significantly shape Chicago's future. National impact. With Chicago facing an unprecedented increase in migrant arrivals, the ripple effects are being felt nationwide, from the bustling avenues of New York City to the quieter corners of the country.
Tens of thousands of migrants that have made their way into this country have come to New York, putting a strain on some of the city's services.
This crisis transcends local boundaries, sparking a national dialogue that touches on policy, humanity, and the core values of American society. New York City mirrors Chicago's predicament, with its shelters filled to the brim, resources stretched thin, and public debates growing more heated. This mutual predicament has thrust the issue to the forefront of national conversation, marking a period of introspection for the country. This raises critical questions about the broader ramifications for the United States, revealing a tangled array of challenges, from immigration policy and federal versus local responsibilities to the ability of cities to welcome and assimilate new arrivals. It serves as a stress test for America's infrastructural resilience, its adherence to fundamental principles, and its aspirations for the future. Critics argue that without unified strategies and decisive actions, urban centers across the nation could suffer, pointing to possible resource shortages, overburdened public services, and strained social cohesion as nationwide concerns that could jeopardize the nation's stability and well-being. Former President Donald Trump has been vocal in his critique, attributing the crisis to what he sees as the failings of current immigration policies and leadership. He advocates for tighter border control and stricter immigration policies, presenting the issue as a pivotal moment for national security and identity. As the nation watches and contemplates, several urgent questions emerge. How will the United States address this challenge? What insights can be gleaned from the situations in cities like Chicago and New York? Most importantly, how will these decisions influence the future of a nation renowned for its commitment to offering sanctuary and opportunity? Therefore, the migrant crisis represents not just an immediate issue, but a point of national contemplation, a test of determination, and a crucial phase in America's ongoing narrative, a narrative that continues to unfold in real time, affecting communities and shaping discussions across the nation. Fixing the crisis.
We're going to build the wall. We have no choice. We have no choice. Build that wall. Build that wall. Build that wall. Build that wall.
As Chicago grapples with an extraordinary challenge, a pressing question looms large. How can this dilemma be resolved? The city is in the midst of an unprecedented influx of migrants, making the quest for solutions as elusive and coveted as undiscovered treasure. A prevalent proposal resonates from the grassroots to the upper echelons of decision-making: tighten the borders. This direct approach seeks to halt the influx of new arrivals, championed by some as a vital measure to regain control and more effectively address the crisis without the complication of continuous continuous entries. Yet, the effectiveness of such a strategy in its entirety remains a topic of debate. In these critical times, the significance of financial strategies comes to the forefront. The pivotal role of fiscal resources is acknowledged, with dialogues surrounding the reallocation of budgets, enhancing housing assistance, and strengthening public services. The objective is to adjust the city's resources to meet the magnitude of its challenge, ensuring that essential amenities such as housing, security, and stability are available to both new arrivals and long-standing citizens. Looking forward, attention shifts to fostering integration and strengthening the community.